Microsoft and Activision have won the war against the FTC. Or maybe the word war is way too strong. Let's say Microsoft bitch slapped the FTC. There, that sound better. In all seriousness, this acquisition is finally over. Microsoft can now officially finish the merger with ABK. Also, as of the time of this video, Jim Ryan bent the knee this morning and signed the 10-year deal for Call of Duty to remain on PlayStation. We don't know if Phil agreed to other games, but from the court proceedings that I will get to in this video later, Judge Corley made it clear that the FTC's case failed to show how other games will hurt Sony, so now it's up to Phil Spencer on what makes it to PlayStation. In my opinion, they played this just like they did with Bethesda. If it's on PlayStation now, it will not be removed. If it's a new game or IP, it will be exclusive to Xbox and PC. I think it's that simple. I think this deal closes tomorrow, Monday, July 17th. Making Sony sign the deal today means something is going down tomorrow. I could be absolutely wrong here, but it's just my thoughts. Today's video is something I wanted to do a few days ago, but there was so much news coming out every day that I kept wanting to postpone this to cover everything. We are going to go back to July 12th when Judge Corley introduced her decision on the hearing. I want to get a little geeky on the subject matter and point out exactly what happened. By the way, thanks for being here on my channel. Please take the time to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We are in new channel phase at the moment and the number of videos will increase gradually. Let's cut this intro there. Let's go over Judge Corley's decision on the 12th and see some of the important things she said in her final report. As we all predicted, let's start by having my legal analytical but read the opening statement from the decision.
In December 2022, the FTC initiated an administrative action to block Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision, publisher of the first-person shooter video game franchise Call of Duty, among other popular video games. The gist of the FTC's complaint is Call of Duty is so popular, and such an important supply for any video game platform, that the combined firm is probably going to foreclose it from its rivals for its own economic benefit to consumers' detriment. Discovery in the administrative action has closed, and trial before an FTC judge is scheduled to commence on August 2, 2023. 4 weeks ago, the FTC filed this action to preliminarily enjoin the merger pending completion of the FTC administrative action. Because the merger has a July 18th termination date, expedited proceedings were commenced. After considering the parties' voluminous pre- and post-hearing writing submissions, and having held a 5-day evidentiary hearing, the court denies the motion for preliminary injunction. The FTC has not shown it is likely to succeed on its assertion the combined firm will probably pull Call of Duty from Sony PlayStation, or that its ownership of Activision content will substantially lessen competition.
That was Judge Corley's statement on why she denied the PI. It makes sense to me as to why this was the result. It was a total failure by the FTC to make their case. I'm also sure that the perception of them being there for Sony was evident and even called out by the judge. You do not want the judge to ever redirect your aspirations in court, especially in a case like this that involves consumers heavily. Here is what Judge Corley had to say about exclusivity.
Each of the 3 major console companies is also a vertically integrated first-party game developer and publisher. And while each has a collection of platform-exclusive titles, the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation, they both have significantly higher number of exclusive games on their platform than Xbox does. In addition to exclusivity, Sony also uses its market power to extract other preferential treatment from third-party game developers, including earlier release dates, exclusive marketing agreements, and exclusive in-game content.
Here she states that Xbox currently has the least amount of available exclusive content. No matter if it is the fault of Microsoft or not, it is what it is. Nintendo and Sony have a huge lead right now. That for sure will be changing big time on September 6th when Starfield releases and then Forza in October, followed by all the games starting to drop next year. It just befuddles me that the FTC thought that what Sony has been doing was not going to be talked about in the court. It's just mind-blowing they thought that bringing up subject matter like Microsoft holding content and keeping things exclusive wouldn't open the skeleton closet of Sony and reveal that they have been doing the same thing for years. Much of the document is redacted, so there's some things that we may never know. Here is her talking about Nintendo and their relevance in the gaming industry and the very important PC market.
The FTC insists the Nintendo Switch pricing, performance, and content make it an improper substitute, at least for purposes of its preliminary injunction motion. As to pricing, yes, the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 are priced the same and a couple of $100 higher than the Switch. However, Xbox set the price of its entry-level Series S to compete with the Switch. And there are functionality differences between the Switch and the PlayStation and Xbox consoles. The Switch is portable and it has its own screen and less powerful hardware. However, neither the FTC nor its expert consider the extent to which the Switch's differentiated features, including its price, portability, and battery, are factors the customer balances when deciding which console to purchase. Nintendo made technical decisions to enable an experience that they thought their customers would want to have, and it's the best-selling console right now in the market. So when people try to tell me it's not competitive, for any number of reasons, I don't believe that, because I just look at what's selling. Finally, yes, there are content differences between the Switch and PlayStation, but many of the most popular games on PlayStation and Xbox consoles are also available on the Switch, including Fortnite, Minecraft, Rocket League, Lego Star Wars, Fall Guys, and the FIFA, MLB The Show, and NBA 2K franchises. Although some popular Xbox and PlayStation games are not available on the Switch, many of those titles are platform exclusives.
So, here you can tell that she was not having the talk about Nintendo not being a competitor and major player in the gaming industry. She did, however, state the obvious, and something I was not expecting her to go with. She basically feels like the PC is in its own lane, and that even though she questioned the FTC about that, she still was in agreement that you can't base the PC as a logical alternative because of the wide range of computers that people own. They all can't play anything. I still feel like she kind of missed the point here. Gamers know the PC is a part of everything. Nobody really brought up the fact that Xbox and PlayStation have created $500 PCs, with each coming at a loss because of the expense within each one. Nobody in the courtroom really could give an example of build levels when it comes to PCs. Prime example, a $500 fully built PC will not be on the same level as an Xbox or even the PS5. So that alone makes the PC market super viable for consumers to build one. The judge during the closing arguments brought up a hypothetical statement about everyone has a computer. That was an opinion on her part, not based on any facts. So that tells me she was throwing the FTC a bone in that moment to see if they could muster any kind of fight. It didn't work out for them because they had zero knowledge of a PC other than the fact that they brought up graphic cards and how that was the main thing about PC gaming. Judge Corley actually towed the line when it came to geographical markets, but she agreed with the FTC here. In my last video I pointed out some of the same reason I felt like the FTC had talking points with this subject. I still think Judge Corley is looking at this wrong because she doesn't seem to fully understand the cloud market doesn't have borders. Nonetheless, buying physical media and hardware is localized, so you can't argue her stance on that one. Here is what her thoughts were on this subject.
The product market, the relevant geographic market, must correspond to the commercial realities of the industry and be economically significant. The FTC, relying largely on Dr. Lee's analysis, insists the relevant market is the United States because 1. Game prices and releases vary country by country, and 2. Gamer preferences and behavior vary country by country and inform market participants' strategic decision. Cumulatively, this evidence suggests the relevant market for competition is the United States. Defendants' arguments in favor of a geographic market beyond the United States are unpersuasive. The geographic market is both the area in which the seller operates and to which the purchaser can practically turn for supplies. While there is no dispute consoles are sold in markets outside the United States, there is no evidence to suggest US consumers seeking to purchase a console would look outside the United States to do so.
Next we see Judge Corley's understanding of the foreclosure accusations from the FTC. Here is what she said.
Immediately upon the merger's announcement, Microsoft committed to maintain Call of Duty on its existing platforms and even expand its availability. The day after the merger announcement, Microsoft's Satya Nadella and Phil Spencer spoke with Sony CEO Kenichiro Yoshida to emphasize Microsoft's commitment to enter a new agreement to extend Activision's obligation to ship Call of Duty at parity on PlayStation. The next day, Sony PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan wrote his mentor about the proposed merger. It's not an Xbox exclusivity play at all. They are thinking bigger than that, and they have the cash to make moves like this. I've spent a fair bit of time with both Phil and Bobby over the past day. I'm pretty sure we will continue to see COD on PS for many years to come. The deal plan evaluation model presented to the Microsoft Board of Directors to justify the Activision purchase price relies on PlayStation sales and other non-Microsoft platforms. Post-acquisition, there are no internal documents, emails, or chats contradicting Microsoft's stated intent not to make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox consoles. Despite the completion of extensive discovery in the FTC administrative proceeding, including production of nearly 1 million documents and 30 depositions, the FTC has not identified a single document which contradicts Microsoft's publicly stated commitment to make Call of Duty available on PlayStation.
As you heard, Judge Corley absolutely did not see any scrap of evidence that the FTC brought forth that showed Microsoft's intent to foreclose Call of Duty from PlayStation. The FTC brought forth close to 1 million documents and 30 depositions. That is insane. What an embarrassment. That many documents contain nothing that can help you make your argument, and after that you are trying to appeal. People should lose their jobs after this show of stupidity. But I digress. She goes on to bring up Minecraft that Microsoft kept on PlayStation since 2014. There isn't any evidence of Microsoft withholding any multiplayer game from Sony. The FTC tried to compare Redfall to Call of Duty. They had to be set down in the corner again. Redfall is localized multiplayer where it's the player versus environment aka PvE. Call of Duty is mainly a player versus player aka PvP. The FTC just saw guns, shooting, enemies and tried to compare the two games. That was their argument of Microsoft taking away a multiplayer game away from Sony. The section about Dr. Lee pretty much was the killer of the FTC. Reading the final report, it's obvious the judge was focusing in on this part of the hearing. Comparing what she wrote to what I heard during the hearing, she made this a really big deal without really showing it in court. She noted how the FTC never challenged testimony from Dr. Carlton about how Dr. Lee's numbers were wrong. That was her personal smoking gun that most of us didn't even notice was going on. Here is a short excerpt from the document stating her additional views on Dr. Lee.
Dr. Lee's opinion suffers from several additional weaknesses. It fails to consider Microsoft's agreement with Nintendo and the cloud streaming services to provide ongoing access to Call of Duty, all of which will increase access. It also fails to consider Microsoft's offer to Sony, nor did he consider any reputational harm to Microsoft from pulling Call of Duty from millions of players. Regardless, for the reasons explained, his opinion does not show the combined firm will probably have an economic incentive to withhold Call of Duty from PlayStation. He simply assumed a concession rate for his model that would make exclusivity profitable, but there is no evidence to support that assumption.
In the conclusion phase of her report, she really showed that she understood what was going on and how the FTC made mistakes with other titles by focusing so much on Call of Duty, leaving the door open for Xbox to make other titles exclusive in which she still feels would not harm competition. Here is the ending section of her report.
In sum, the FTC has not shown a likelihood of success on its theory the merger may substantially lessen competition in the Gen 9 console market because the combined firm will have the ability and incentive to foreclose Call of Duty from PlayStation. While it is possible, Call of Duty's long history as a highly popular, multi-platform cross-play game make that result not probable. The court has focused on Call of Duty rather than other Activision AAA content because the FTC's evidence focused on this one game. While other games, such as Diablo, are certainly popular, the FTC did not offer evidence that if Call of Duty remains multi-platform in the console market, making Diablo or other Activision titles exclusive to Xbox would probably substantially lessen competition in that market.
The rest of the document is her basically handing the FTC their butt on a platter. Dr. Lee was such a horrible witness for the FTC. Him and Jim Ryan destroyed everything for them. I will say this about all of this. The next case of this kind involving the video game industry will not be like this. The gaming world is now on the lips of politicians and lawyers. We all have Sony to blame for this. It was Jim Ryan who opened the door for all this to come out. It certainly made them look horrible in all this. The way the FTC tells you all you need to know. Xbox comes out of all this looking like the Saints. That's all for this video. The next time I upload, Microsoft would have closed the deal and we can all move on. I will be discussing the state of video games currently on the Sony side and the Microsoft side and how this deal affects both. Thanks for watching and make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. See you in the next one.